Hello, hello, and welcome back to the greatest love of all podcast. We are very glad to have you here today. If you are brand new to the podcast, we talk about all things spirituality and personal growth. And today we have a very interesting topic for you. We are touching on toxic relationships and very specifically are going to go into relationships with narcissists and how to sort of deal, recognize, and get out of relationships with narcissists. It's an interesting one, and I think that you are in for quite a lot of interesting information. My name is Izabela, and I am joined by Ingvar, who is an incredible psychic and a very spiritually aware person. Hello.
Hello again.
So Ingvar, so it's interesting because this was your idea for the episode,
Yes.
and then I was trying to really kind of understand, how do we best deal with this is quite a heavy topic, potentially. Narcissists are not nice people, right? Like, they can genuinely destroy you. So first of all, what are the kind of traits of a narcissistic person? How do I know I'm dealing with a narcissist?
You say that they are not nice people, but
Mm.
mostly on the beginning, they are very, very nice. And that's the trick, For those who are meeting the narcissist, they can be tricked but by behaving because he or she, because I will tell about he, but it is of course obvious that it will be she and he,
Yes,
yes,
that's
because
it.
it is
It's
from the both sides. It can be that when you meet this person, so you will fall in love because it will be very, very charming person, and you will get a lot of compliments from this person on the beginning, and she or he will be very focused on you so much, for example, as you haven't such experience before, and you got at once so much.
They call it love bombing. They
Yeah,
literally like bomb you with
yes,
love, right? Like,
yes,
it's like, and you are like, wow.
yes. So, and then you think, oh, it's so nice person. It is so nice person. And then you want to, of course, you want to meet this person again, again, again. And then, you are catched as a fish.
The hook
So,
is on
yeah.
firmly.
So of course, but I think for those who are meeting this person, who are haven't this experience before, it will be, I think it could be easier to get out from this kind of relationship. But for those who have a narcissist in the family, they have a narcissist as a father or mother. So this will be very, very heavy for this person. It can be a very, very toxic because narcissists, they are using a lot of tricks. They think about themselves that they are kings, they are your masters. And of course, if you want to be independent, so you not be independent when you are in the relationship with the narcissist. So that's why, when children have a mother and a father narcissist, there is a waking that, they are discovered. So it can be a late, very late, because they can think this is a normal situation, usual. And maybe they could think that it is in every family the same, but it is not the same. And I want, of course, talk how it is from the point of view of person who is developing himself spiritually, how it is, how kind of tricks you can avoid with the narcissist. Because, if you are developing, of course, you want to be a good person. From everywhere you can hear that. You should be a kind person. And if you think you should be a kind person, so then you have to agree with the other people. And you don't want to be nice. If you feel something, of course, that this person is not nice for you and is using you, or is something strange with the behaving of the narcissist. But of course, you don't know yet that this is a narcissist.
So first of all, narcissistic personality disorder is a recognized mental health issue. So, like, it's recognized as a mental disorder. So it's classed by World Health Organization. There is official treatment path too. So there is psychotherapy. So people who will seek help can get psychotherapy. There can be official diagnosis, and there is help available. The big part of the issue, however, is that actually it takes a lot for that person to recognize, right?
Can I interrupt you? Not everywhere.
What do you mean not everywhere? As in not in every country?
The treatment is not everywhere.
Okay. As in, like, not in every
It is
place in the
not
world.
in every country.
That's
No.
interesting. Okay. So the treatment from what I'm reading, so this is certainly the case in the UK and the US. If
Yes.
you have a recognized narcissistic personality disorder, you can seek treatment through psychotherapy. Sorry, yes, psychotherapy.
Yeah.
Um, so that would obviously, it's a primary treatment and actually the most effective option according to what I found. And it's just you talk with somebody essentially. That's all there is.
Mhm.
But the results are actually really positive. So that's really interesting. Obviously, I almost feel like I live in a little bubble, right? Like I look at UK, US, so surely everywhere. But you are right, that might not be the case.
Yes.
Yes.
So I meant that if you are developing yourself and you want to be a good person, of course, and of course we are our channel, the greatest love of all. So then, what you should do in your life, spread the love, yes, and being the love, because it's many techniques which is telling you that I mean spiritual techniques that to heal the person or heal the relationship, that of course there is too little love, right? And those techniques, they are saying that you have to, of course, you have to use the love and you have to fill with the love this person. And of course, you are doing this. And what next? The next is why it doesn't work in this situation. This
Yeah.
is, you see, because normally it works. Normally it works. But in this situation, doesn't work.
No, because obviously it's a pattern of behavior that they keep repeating, right? So like
Yeah.
as you say, first there's that love bombing that you talked about, which, like, they will idealize you, then will suddenly turn cold and critical. But then there is the full stage of gaslighting. So then they will
Mhm.
make you doubt your memory, perception, sanity. Literally, you will just be going in mental loops. Then there is blame shifting. So they will rarely take responsibility. Everything is somebody else's fault. Then triangulation, where you are bringing in third parties to validate themselves or create
Mhm.
competition, confusion. Like, I mean, this is honestly like such a heavy thing, right? And then
Right.
silent treatment and punishment. So they will withdraw the affection or attention as a form of control and punishment, which is, it sounds awful. But I have a question to you now, Ingvar.
Yes.
Obviously, um, I can only imagine if I look at being a narcissistic person as a form of mental illness, right? Then
Mhm.
my empathy goes up all of a sudden, because I'm thinking, surely this is really not a nice way to live for somebody who has that disorder, right? So,
Mhm.
from a spiritual point of view, why do you think people like that exist? Like, why do we have people like that in our lives?
You know, not only but some friends of mine, we were thinking about this, why it is, and we could see that this is the pattern, this is the pattern because it is not, you can see it is not one person. This, you can say it is mentally ill person. There is the issue, spiritual issue in this person. And because this pattern, it's appear in those people and why they are so similar, why they are behaving so similar.
As in, like, all the narcissistic people, why do they have
Yes,
that similar pattern of
yes.
behavior, right? So
So
what's
this is interesting because you see, always they are lying. They are, of course, they are using this gaslighting and many, many tricks, as you just said. Why all those things, it is in the one person. So it is the pattern, you know. So this soul have a pattern, and the soul came with this pattern. So you have a contact with this soul, with the issue, and they have a special goal to come here on the earth, because when we live with this person, so we people who are developing, so normally they will spread the love, but why it doesn't work when they are spreading love and this person, because when they are spreading love, they are using after the why that they are using themselves. Your resources are used or taken by narcissists.
But there is a way to turn it around, in my opinion. So if you think about it, if we look at it purely from the spiritual point of view, right, and know that the souls have journeys, right? So everything is for a reason. Like, I'm such a firm believer that everybody
Yes.
is created in our paths for a reason. So what if, like, yes, this is an extreme kind of case where obviously, maybe it's like a soul stuck in earlier stages of growth where they are like, they were overly focused on themselves or whatever, right? But what if the existence challenges others, right? And that challenge helps develop boundaries, compassion, wisdom, and you know you meet such people, right, to learn specific soul lessons. And actually, maybe they are not there to destroy you, but they are there to wake you up.
That I was meant.
Yeah, that's it.
So but no everyone knows that, of
No.
course. From this point of view, that you know this, you start to be more aware of this special arrangement, I think, for you, of course, because there are the special conditions, more hard conditions, that you are here. And this soul, this narcissistic soul, it is, as you said, challenging you. That when you normally would think that, okay, I will give you the love you because you need the love. I will give you this love that my love will fix you, or love of the God will fix you. But nothing is happening, and the people are thinking for many years that will make a change, but the change is not happening. Of course, it can happen that, of course, the narcissist will be aware that he is a narcissist, and they want to change the pattern in himself, and that's he need the therapy, of course, And when he go on the therapy, it will help. But for those who are saying that they have no issue, that the issue is something with you, and telling you, gaslighting you that something wrong with you.
Yeah, it's like, what do you mean? It's like everything is fine with
Yes,
me. It's you
yes,
who is the problem, right? Like,
yes,
you are making this up.
yes. They are changing your perception. So you think that normally, because as a normal person, you are think in this way, that it should be this way, for example. But the narcissist will say, no, it's something wrong with you. Your perception is wrong. Something is wrong with your mentality. And it's repeating this again, 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 again.
Yeah.
And then you're starting to think, maybe he have a right. Maybe it's something wrong with me. And then if you believe this, so it can be, it can happen that yes, you will go down. Yes. This situation is teach you. This is teach you that because narcissist are making you weaker. His purpose is that makes you weaker because then he can be always higher than you,
Yes.
and he's telling the situation that he's always better than you, and you are the lower than him, and he's your chief, for example, or your king or queen or something like this. He's always the best in everything. And you are when you're thinking about yourself, it is not possible to be always the best in everything. So he is a genius,
That's
He's a
it.
genius.
You've got like, one in a million there.
Yes, you are yes, and you are in a way chosen to be next to the genius, you know, and
Yes.
then you're thinking in this way. So it is a big trap, of course, because you are don't you are not thinking about yourself, but you are starting to thinking about him or her. So all the times your attention goes to the narcissist.
And as we've learned in previous episodes, that's exactly what we should be very much paying attention to because we are literally, it's like it sucks the life out of you. It's literally
Yes,
like that.
people are forgetting that they are important, and they are lifting this narcissist with their beliefs that they are the genius, of course, and almost a god, and or kings and queens. And so they are believe this, and they are stop to believe in themselves. So, as we said, attention. The key is the attention. So when you have this attention here, and you observe your body, you observe yourself, you observe what is your heart is saying to you, what kind of feeling you have here. But of course, when you are in the relationship with the narcissist, then the narcissist will make the situation that, oh, you not enough pay attention on me, you are selfish. So you see the next trick, and you start to think, maybe I'm not doing right. I'm not good enough person, that because I'm thinking too much about myself. So you see, and as we were talking in a previous episode, when they are grown up in the environment, natural environment, without the human help, so the plants needs to help themselves. They have to be focused on themselves, because if they are not, they will not survive. So it
Mm.
is healthy to be focused on yourself. I mean, in a good way of thinking, of course. because you can be, as a narcissist, focus on yourself, but in a healthy way. So, I mean, you are a student of your heart and you are observing what you feel here. And so, when you are giving this love, so you are giving and giving and giving and giving and giving. And narcissist, it is like a black hole.
Yeah.
And, you know, some years ago, one girl asked me about her relationship. She asked me for advice, and I answer her that, do you want to invest in the black hole? After a year, she told me, so that was a great advice for her. And she realized that, of course, she doesn't want to invest in the black hole
Oh,
because all your energy will disappear. Of course, we don't know what is on the other side of the black hole. Some scientists now are saying that there is another dimension. And of course, it will be another dimension on the other side of the narcissist, probably. But what will be here in this dimension, in this situation with us? We will be sucked from the energy.
yeah.
So we have to remember that we shouldn't think that we are allowed to fix the narcissist.
We shouldn't think we are allowed to do it like this. What do you mean?
Yes,
So, as in, like,
because
we are not allowed to do it. We
yes,
shouldn't do it.
because we cannot afford it.
That's a very it's a very heavy price to pay if you want to attempt that.
Yes,
That's what you are trying to say. I understand that.
because all purpose of the
Yeah.
narcissist, it is, as we said, it is to be always on the top. It is not creating the healthy environment.
It's difficult, especially as you say, if you don't have a choice of that relationship, right? Like this is really challenging because as you say you might not be aware that that's even normal, that's not normal, and then for you it's normal, and then as you grow into it, this is really, really heavy.
Before we were start to record, I told you that once came to me a girl that before the relationship with the narcissist, of course, she didn't know that this will be a narcissist. She had everything. She had a good job. She was healthy. She had the money. She was, happy, and she have a this. She want to, have a good humor, and after she lost almost everything. She was sacked from the everything.
Mm.
He left her without the money too, and without the energy, without the money, without the, you know, resources to live. So she was just squeezed as a citron. Yes, so
As a lemon, squeezed as
lemon.
a lemon.
Yes, as a
Yes,
lemon.
that's
Yes.
it.
So all juices were taken. The narcissist implementing their praise such way of thinking that they are losing their life, and after suck as such deep level, you know that they will no they can felt in a big depression. And I remember she told me, now I'm poor. I have no money. I have no everything. Yes, and I told her, no, you are rich. You're a rich person, but you don't know yet how much rich you are. And this was about what we are talking about in our podcast, that we are a rich person, but when we are together with the narcissist, people are used to forget about this. Because as I said, narcissists can implement to our mentality different way of thinking that we are begin to be a prey. Of course, those people need the therapy after, lift up them, and then when they are, because always they are thinking about the narcissist, what the narcissist will tell or what he told them, what they felt, what was in this toxic situation, and they are forgetting about themselves. They're forgetting about their heart, their souls. They have to switch the attention. They have to, when they are switch the attention, we have the antennas also. And as a radio needs the antenna, right? When you adjust, the radio on the frequencies, so we were adjust by the narcissist on the another frequencies which narcissists transmit to us, but we are forgetting that we can adjust ourselves to another frequencies which is good for us. And maybe today I will give another exercise how to raise your energy. But it is not only to use in the situation with the narcissist. No, you can use this in the simple way. So, as I said, we have a kind of antennas, but we don't see those antennas, but our aura is an antenna. When we think that our chakras are a center, energy centers, and when we are depressed, so our attention go down. So, and they are turned to the low frequencies. But when you imagine that your antenna, you just turn it in this way. Yes. So you see on the, yes, this angle, it can be 45 degree. So you have this antenna and your attention is turned to this way and the energy is flowing to you. So when you every day do this exercise, that your center, this antenna from your center, right, for example, here on the third eye chakra is switch on this higher level, this higher frequency, and the same here, and the same with the another chakras. So when you do this, so you feel that the higher frequency it's coming to you. So it is the same when you see the tree. So the tree have grants, and you see that they are not growing like this. Yes, down. Yes, they are growing this way. Yes. And someone will say, oh, because the gravity. Or maybe. But you see, so you have this as a channel for the energy. This higher energy can flow to you. But this energy should flow from the source to you here. So if you did this once and a second and a third time, maybe more, depend of course what you need. So you feel that the energy will change and your mood will change.
That's why
So
I hug the trees.
yes,
I like to hug the trees because I feel like they always point my antennae in the right direction.
yes. So you see, they are remembering to us what kind of energy we should transmit or receive. So, because when you go to the forest, many people are going to the forest for resting and take a relaxing trip. So, of course, it is good solution because there is a good energy which is remembering us that we are a part of the nature. So, and we are going back, our energy, our centers, energy centers are going back to this nature energy because when we have so much, electricity and those other smokes, so we can be, we can be
Yes.
poisoned.
It's like interference. It's, we live in a constant interference. When you are in a city,
Hmm.
there is, first of all, you have energies of millions of people around you, and that already disrupts the flow.
Hmm.
Then there is, a ton of electricity and electric pollution around. Then you have, the actual pollution in the air, and all of that literally like, just weighs down on your antenna, which is your aura, right? And it's just,
Hmm.
if you are constantly and constantly and constantly exposed to that,
Hmm.
then what result do you expect?
Right. So you see, this is extremely challenging. The people who are in those relationships. So we shouldn't forget this is in the purpose. The situation is a purpose. Of course, our soul chosen this situation. But I don't mean you are chosen this situation, so you have to stay in this situation. No, no, no. I mean to learn something. And of course, to learn something, it is also to break the situation,
To be
to
in
change the
charge.
pattern. Yes, to
To
change the
be,
pattern.
yes, that's it. And I am a firm believer that the universe is going to throw at you
Hmm.
different lessons until you learn the lesson and break the pattern, right? So it's
Hmm.
like it's there. Like you have to break through that in order to almost like graduate to the next
Hmm.
level. And as harsh as it sounds, the lessons could get harder and harder, right? Like it's like get the message, move on.
Hmm. So I want to say today on the YouTube, it is a lot of podcast about the narcissist. Of course, I didn't watch all of them, but some of them I watched, and I'm agree, of course, with most of this what they are telling in those podcasts. But I haven't heard that someone will say that narcissist will drain you even from the your money. Yes, so you have to be very you need to have attention on. So to be aware of this, that's the way of doing, of doing of purpose the narcissist because narcissists always want to be a winner.
It
If
sounds to me that
yes,
the only way forward is to learn how to completely cut yourself out of that relationship, right? And that is probably the hardest part because
yes.
yes, it's one thing to recognize, okay, and then move away, but like in some relationships, especially parents, siblings, etc., it's really hard to just put a line and say that's it, I no longer have anything to do with you, right? Like that's
Mhm,
very different than having a colleague at work, a boss, or a
mhm,
girlfriend, right? Like that's very different. So
mhm.
would you say the best thing to do is to completely cut clean the relationship, take the losses, take the lessons, move on, and say that's it, I
Yes,
don't want any more?
it is not always easy
Well, it never
because
would be easy.
setting the boundaries it can be very difficult because narcissists want to take down your boundaries. So when you are setting the boundaries, then can start to be a problem for the narcissist. You can hear from the narcissist that it is something wrong with you because he wants you all the times. He wants you always your energy. He wants all the time your resources. He wants to have always access to you. And when you are setting your boundaries, then it can be a problem. So, just as you said, the best way it is to mix out from the situation. So just leave it. Just go another way, but not always. Life will bring you not always easy situations. So it is not always that at once you can do it. No. So that's why maybe you are in a school. So you have to think and you have to learn how to behave with the narcissist, how to learn the way of setting the boundaries or being yourself, be confident, because as a teacher, he is trying to examine you all the time.
Yeah.
Are you a master or you are not a master yet with this?
Yeah.
Narcissists are great teachers for us, and we shouldn't forget about this in this way.
That's it. And I am a firm believer that universe never gives us anything we can't deal with. Like you
Mhm,
are always given precisely what you can deal with. And
mhm,
if you don't lose sight of that, then you will always move forward. Like you won't stop. Like the
mhm,
progress will be there. You will keep moving. And it's actually, I find it really fascinating. I've been reading recently quite a few books about Buddhism.
mhm,
And I've read the passage, and I actually didn't realize that in Buddhist beliefs, so like in the teachings, they actually see like low self belief, like not like kind of that low ability to be in control mentally as mental laziness. They actually see it as form of laziness because that's literally the largest obstacle to reach the enlightenment, right? It's like if you allow for your mental state keep dragging you down, that you will never move forward, right? So in a way, it's mind over matter with this, right? You have to believe that you can get out of it. It's good. You are on the path out, and then you will be on the path out. That's as simple as that, right? So
and of course, you have your heart.
to
And
guide you and help you.
yes, so we shouldn't forget about this. And here is this, the greatest friend of us here.
Always with us.
Yes, and always listen your heart first, than the another person. Even this person is your wife or husband or daughter or sister, brother. Listen your heart first, and then after you can listen them.
I think that's a wonderful way to close, Ingvar. I think that yes, just remembering you're never alone. There is part of you inside you that's always there, and it's just that importance of connecting with it and listening to that voice inside to guide you through every situation in life, just as we've talked in the previous episodes. Don't lose sight of that. So in that sense, thank you for coming back, or thank you for coming for the first time. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe, and we will be back next week with another deeply enlightening episode.
So see you again, and please subscribe our channel.